What's up everyone, MGR once again, back again with another 4-star character build. Today we are looking at everybody's favorite popsicle eater, Big Chongus himself, Chongyun. I used to run Chongyun as my main Cryo DPS until Rosaria came home, and I thought since I already made a Rosaria video, I may as well showcase the build I used to use with Chongyun. So let's get into it. Chongyun's Ascension stat is attack percentage, which is great, buffing his elemental cryo damage as well as his normal attack damage. He would have been a bit better if that was a cryo damage stat, but you can't always have your cake and eat it as well. For weapon, I will be using Serpent Spine. Of course, if you have any 5-star claymores, they will be better on him due to their naturally higher base attack. And I think it's Wolf's Gravestone that has an attack substat, which is also always welcome. If you don't have access to any of those, you can get the Serpent Spine from the Battle Pass, or the Black Cliff Claymore from the Paimon shop. Other free-to-play weapons that are really good on him include the Prototype Archaic, and unfortunately that's about it. If you have no other options, the Sacrificial Greatsword is okay on him, giving him the ability to cast his E more than once if you get the cooldown. Snow-Tombed Star Silver is one of the most disappointing blades overall, especially because it has a physical damage bonus. If it didn't have that, and maybe an attack bonus, it would have been the perfect weapon for Chongyun, both aesthetically and because he can 100% of the time proc the passive of the Snow-Tombed Star Silver. It's just sad that a sword that could have been best in slot for him just will never be. Moving on to artifacts, of course the disclaimer. Just because these are the artifacts I recommend and use does not mean you should stick strictly to them. Always give your best characters the best artifacts with the best subsets that you have. So I am using 4-piece Blizzard Destroyer mainly because this build needs a lot of crit rate. This is the build I did before I started focusing on min-maxing my crit damage and crit rate ratios. So this one was just focused on getting him as much crit rate as possible. Other sets that could work with him is 2-piece Blizzard Destroyer and 2-piece Glad. Otherwise, as shown in my Rosaria video, I basically use him as cryo support with 4-piece noblesse. It depends on what you're using him for, but because since we're using him as cryo main DPS, this is the set we're using for him. For stats, you are looking at first priority crit rate, crit damage as always. For second stats, you're looking for attack percent or flat attack. And that's really it. You could add some elemental mastery, just because that boosts his elemental damage if you're doing reactions. And he doesn't need energy recharge, mainly because his ult has a very low burst cost of 40 energy. My Chongyun is C6. Ice Unleashed gives the last attack in his normal attack chain 3 cryo blades that do damage to enemies, which is nice. That all extra damage is always welcome. Atmospheric Revolution. Any bursts or elemental skills cast within his E's AoE gets decreased cooldown time. C3 and 5 increase the levels of his E and Q. Frozen Skies regenerates energy. This is one of the reasons why you don't need energy recharge on him, but of course that depends. If you feel he needs more, feel free to give him energy recharge. And C6 gives him an additional blade with his ult, as well as gives him a damage boost if the enemy's total HP is lower than Chongyun's max HP. So as long as he's shielded or being healed, he'll get that damage boost. For talents, these could definitely use some work, but for the showcase it will be fine. Steady Breathing, Sword, Claymore and Prolonged Willing characters within the field created by Spirit Blade, Chongus Layered Frost have their normal attack speed increased by 8%, and Rhyme Chaser Blade When the field created by Spirit Blade Chongus Layered Frost disappears, another Spirit Blade will be summoned to strike nearby opponents, dealing 100% of Chongyun's Layered Frost skill's damage as AoE cryo. This also reduces the cryo resistance of your enemies. Without further ado, let's get into it. I would just like to mention that for today's showcase we will not be using Xingqiu. Even though Xingqiu and Chongyun work perfectly together in a freeze comp, Chongyun being able to shatter frozen enemies for a bit extra damage, the enemies we are showcasing today won't readily be available for freeze. For instance, Masanori can be frozen in his first phase, but once he gets buffed up, we won't be able to freeze him, so I won't be bothering with a freeze comp today. Later on we will be using a Chongyun melt comp. So I hope you enjoy. We'll be using Zhongli, not using Xingqiu, and later we'll be using Xiangling. Honestly, this is like the 5th time today I've recorded this battle against Masanori. He's being incredibly difficult today, dodging and weaving or blocking all my attacks.
This will do. Stabilize.
So what's very important about Chongyun is when you're doing your attacks, the best strategy when facing a target that moves around so much like Masanori is to do the Beyblade strat of spinning to win. The main reason for that is, with his attack chain, you'll see he launches those ice blades, and if they don't hit, it's not really optimal, and he does it again. Like I was saying, with an enemy so mobile, hitting all 3 of those blades is sometimes a challenge, so spinning to win is the optimal DPS strat with Chongyun.
Solidify.
A touch of frost.
Like this. Good though. Like this.
Yeah, sorry, you're gonna have to see that scuffed footage. I'm done with this guy today. Let's move on to the next one.
From whence you came, one with my blade.
That last ice blade really makes a difference. Jeez, man.
A touch of frost. Submit for judgment.
Bit of overkill, but we did it. For our final battle, we will be using Zhongli, as well as Pyro Resonance between Xiangling and Bennett, and Melt Comp Chongyun. Let's go.
One with my blade.
Teamwork is dreamwork!
Spirit blade. Attack.
Solidify.
Swift and merciful.
I should have brought Goban.
A touch of frost.
Get them! Going in!
One with my blade. Submit for judgment.
As you can see, Chongyun does hit like a truck. Damn. There we go, for the team stats. We of course have Bennett, Vernier Sword, 4-piece Noblesse, Chongyun, 4-piece Crimson Witch, Skyward Spine, Chongyun. As you can see, this was a build I did when I just started playing Genshin and was just too invested in crit damage, and that's why his crits don't hit as often. And as you see, if I can get this crit rate up, he'll hit like an absolute truck. But Serpent Spine, 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, 4-piece Nest of Millilith, Prototype Star Glitter, and Zhongli stats. There you go. I hope you enjoyed my Chongyun build and showcase. Unfortunately, the crits just weren't there today, and he can do much better. As shown with the Premiership, he has the potential to hit like an absolute beast. But if you did enjoy the video, please consider liking, and if you want to see future content, please hit the subscribe button. MGR out.